Campus city, the most student city in Russia. Every fifth resident here is the owner of the student's record book. Tomsk is called the Russian Oxford by the reason of getting prestigious and promising education. 6 universities and more than 60,000 students. But the bet is on internationalization. Exactly in Siberia, Europe meets Asia, every day, in a classroom of Tomsk universities. The oldest of them, Tomsk State University, which is the Imperial Russian University in Russian Asia, that was established by the order of His Majesty Alexander II, was site on the far scientific relations, but the Soviet government closed Tomsk. In the 21st century, the reputation of the university was restored. From 10,000 students, there are more than 2,000 foreigners from almost 4 dozen foreign countries. Master student of the Institute of Applied Mathematics and Computer Science of TSU is from the Indian city of Jaipur. Madhav Kavin Sidhar had a chance to learn in sunny Delhi but close to snowy Tomsk.
Well, because I don't want to study in India, I want to meet different country and people. I want to see different culture and traditions. Great, I like it more than Moscow and St. Petersburg. As we foreigners say, Siberia has a very cold temperature, but very warm people.
Siberian winter does not reduce the degree of students' mobility. Tourists are attracted by the extreme climate and 4 centuries history of the city. Tomsk has helped the native ballet tour Pakana to make a name for himself in Indonesia. The young man records and edits the videos, telling the army of subscribers about students' life in Siberia. Hundreds of thousands of views to make sure their friend is not frozen.
When I came here first time, well, Russians are like closed and do not want to communicate with foreigners. And then I show on the video and they want to communicate with us. So for sure, Russians are open people.
Tempat yang sebelumnya udah kita kunjungin. Sumpah benar-benar dingin banget sini. Minus 17 Мы идем на Новосиборск. Идем пешком. Конечно, пешком. А ты хочешь... давай на автобусе. Пошли пешком. Не, на автобусе. Одна остановка сюда.
Он из Egypt.
He is from Egypt. And he is from Indonesia. But it's hard for him to understand.
His roommates were a little bit embarrassed. They can't keep up conversation in Russian yet. It is a matter of time. In a couple of months later, they all start to chat. At most, we got students from China. Our priorities are Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia. There are students from UK, Poland and Czech Republic. Students come to us and more often for a dual education program. That is, they receive 2 diplomas. Our and on the side, either they get an included training. Short-term internship is for 6 or 3 months. They learn Russian language as well. The Faculty of Russian is a foreign language at TSU, one of the calling cards of the university. Exactly here, adventures of foreigners in Siberia are sorted by the sounds, letters and words. Besides all, missing something important can be possible not only for a guest, but for a local resident as well, and try to fill a semantic deficit by absentia. There are some funny situations. For example, when the students just arrive, they all come after shopping in the supermarket and say, "What were we asking in supermarket?" Students are in shock because the woman behind the counter asks you about something like that, big or small, but what? Is it big or is it small? What is it? And when you explain them, even household things, they start to be happy saying, "I can buy anything here in a store. I can say and explain anything in a bank too." The individual approach of teachers, supervision of Russian-speaking students and assistance and contacts with service agencies. Student life for foreigners in Tomsk is trying to be organized on a high level. As a result, 30% of enrolls annually come to Tomsk. Via word of mouth, the rest base their choice on the international ratings. By the way, TSU is the only Russian university which rised up in the world rating QS on more than 100 positions.
4 Tomsk universities made it to QS BRICS. 2 in Novosibirsk, there are Krasnoyarsk, Barnaul, and the Siberian universities have a very decent look in this sense. Every year we pull enrolls and the trend is growing. There are already up to 70% raised hands in the room of freshmen who were guided in the choice of university rating. They begin to define international life, the choice of students, and in this sense it's very important to focus on this reality.
Live in a popular all over Siberia radio, a conversation about business education in an international context. Rectors of the two leading universities, TSU and Classic Architectural and Construction Profile Institute, shared their experience. The independent expert is an academic from Moscow.
You know, when reforms were forming in the 19th, we were very interested in the Western model of education, which was not often of the best standards, and those standards not better replaced ours, which are superior to the Western analogies. So, Moscow has gone in this direction far ahead, and the potentials of the international Russian pedagogy was mostly saved in Siberia.
France, Italy, Czech Republic, Poland, United States, Latin America, CIS, ASEAN and BRICS are interested in education in Tomsk because it becomes wider from year to year. TSU, by the way, one of the partners of ambitious project of Network BRICS University.
We work with all 4 partners of Russia in the BRICS, and we are trying to use this format in order to develop relations with these countries. For example, we were one of the very few Russian universities which has created a job position for exchanging Brazilian professors. And the University of São Paulo is the undoubted leader. In the year we had the first free Brazilian student for the full program. It means the process is going on. With China we have a very comprehensive process. With India we were host of the second Congress of the Association of Rectors of the Universities of Russia.
Experts say that China today rely on traditions of the Soviet education system. Classical universities in Russia regions are in great demand of practical foreigners. Life in Siberia is safer and cheaper than in the capital, and the quality of education is not inferior to top universities of the country. My speciality is the Russian language. I would like to work in China in the future and to be a teacher of Russian language. If someone studies well and has good skills in Russian language, you can definitely be hired in China, even on a good job for sure. How to get to the library? In Tomsk, even in the light of the moon, this question doesn't sound ridiculous. Informational center of the Scientific Library of TSU, with 24-hour open reading room hall, gives students the opportunity to learn overnight not only Chinese but also many other disciplines. 1,500 visits per day, books, tablets and laptops. Students get from school everything, and at most there are foreign students study here.
Students complain that there are not enough places during the session. We are planning to expand the area. I must say that our experience was already supported by other Tomsk universities. Today this 24 hours open reading room in medical school include. Soon it will be open in a polytechnic university, and Tomsk students will live in non-stop mode.
Aida Sultanaliyeva, Masters of Tomsk State University of Architecture and Construction. She misses her native Kyrgyzstan, but dreams of working in the Russian Gazprom. She is pretty sure the ticket to Tomsk became her lucky one. Now I am a master's of the first course, and I took the direction of the faculty that is called Heat and Gas Supply. Well, I'm planning to take a practice in Gazprom. I will try to get a job there afterwards. Attractive career prospects are open for graduates of Tomsk universities. Universities are embedded in the market of potential employers, not only monitor the progress, but also take part in the formation of the necessary competencies. In Tomsk State University of Architecture and Civil Engineering, one of the leading construction universities of Russia, there are students from Europe, Asia, and the CIS. Foreigner is an every 5th student. The best architects of our country and from abroad read their lectures here. Today the university collaborates with partners from 12 countries and has 30 agreements on a common research work. Rector Viktor Vlasov says that the strongest connections now the university has with Italians. And it would promisingly, for example, to cooperate with South Africa. After all, Siberians may share construction technologies in extreme temperature conditions, but now for the most interesting and time-tested partner, the BRICS countries is China.
We don't make astronauts, but one of the areas of our work, the study of technology, materials, science and space. Let's say the soil of the moon. There are such fantastic ideas in people's heads. And one day they will make it, building a base on the moon. And we are currently working on direction and that materials and technologies to use to build those lunar modules.
To settle the moon, to build towers, fight against breast cancer, to learn international diplomacy and software engineering. It is their dreams and our reputation. Soon these students will influence on the world processes and to determine the attitude towards Russia in the international arena. Russian Oxford is preparing a reliable allies who will not be so easy to intimidate by the Russian threat, because everything here was built for their safety and comfort.